On July 1, 2025, the Atlas survey, quietly scanning the skies for objects that could pose potential threats to Earth, recorded a tiny speck of light in the vast darkness of space. Initially, it seemed unremarkable, just another distant, icy object tracing a path through the solar system. Later, it would be designated C/2025 N1 Atlas, and more strikingly, 3I/Atlas, marking it as the third confirmed interstellar comet ever observed entering our solar system. Unlike the comets and asteroids that regularly orbit the Sun, this object was not bound by our system's gravity. It was a traveler from the stars, passing through our cosmic neighborhood on a trajectory that had likely taken millions of years across interstellar space. At first glance, astronomers and sky watchers alike might have treated it as a routine observation, another point of data in the ongoing monitoring of near-Earth space. However, as additional images were captured and more data analyzed, a much more intriguing story began to unfold. Astronomers began noticing details about 3I/Atlas that set it apart from conventional comets. Its brightness fluctuated in ways that were difficult to reconcile with typical cometary behavior. Its tail exhibited unusual structures that defied simple explanations, and its trajectory suggested it was truly interstellar in origin, coming from beyond the influence of the Sun and planets. These peculiarities did not go unnoticed by the scientific community or by the public, and they quickly became a focal point for speculation and fascination. Among the voices that drew attention to the oddities of 3I/Atlas was Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, a well-known figure in the study of interstellar objects. Loeb had previously made headlines with his controversial assertions about Oumuamua, the first observed interstellar object, suggesting that it could be evidence of extraterrestrial technology. In the case of 3I/Atlas, Loeb speculated that it might not merely be a comet or a chunk of ice and rock drifting through space, but rather something far more extraordinary, an alien mothership of unknown origin and purpose, traveling silently through our solar system. While mainstream astronomy approached this idea with caution and skepticism, the speculation itself was enough to ignite a fervent conversation online. Communities interested in UFOs, UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, and extraterrestrial life eagerly seized upon the concept. Social media, particularly platforms like X, became flooded with discussions, theories, and interpretations of what this interstellar visitor could truly represent. What had begun as a faint point of light in a telescope's detector became, almost overnight, a source of intense curiosity, fear, and fascination for people around the globe. This reaction reflects a deeply rooted human pattern of explanation, historically known as the God of the gaps. Long before modern science provided mechanisms for understanding natural phenomena, people attributed the unexplained to the agency of higher powers. Thunder and lightning were once ruled by gods like Thor in Norse mythology or Zeus in Greek mythology. Celestial events, such as eclipses and comets, were interpreted as omens or manifestations of divine will. When early humans faced forces beyond their comprehension, the default explanatory framework often involved a being of intelligence and power capable of intervening in the natural world. As science advanced, many of these explanatory gaps closed. Lightning could be understood as the result of electrical discharges in the atmosphere, eclipses as predictable alignments of celestial bodies, and diseases as biological processes rather than divine punishment. However, every scientific advance simply moved the boundary of the unknown further out, leaving new mysteries to fill with imagination, speculation, or belief. In the modern era, the God of the gaps pattern has evolved into what can be described as the alien of the gaps. When encountering phenomena that remain unexplained, whether mysterious radio signals, unusual astronomical objects, or anomalies in observational data, some individuals substitute extraterrestrial intelligence for divine agency. The underlying logic remains the same. When human understanding is incomplete, the mind seeks an intelligent agent to explain the inexplicable. In the case of 3I/Atlas, this cognitive pattern was clearly visible. Where natural explanations were still uncertain or incomplete, The gaps were swiftly filled with talk of probes, motherships, or advanced alien technology. This is not purely a matter of fringe speculation. It is a predictable aspect of human sense-making when confronted with evidence that challenges our expectations. The online spread of these ideas was shaped by pre-existing cultural frames. The UFO/UAP conversation, now increasingly mainstream due to congressional hearings, released videos, and testimonies from former military pilots and government officials, has established a narrative framework through which new phenomena are interpreted. People familiar with this discourse often apply similar assumptions and storylines to new objects, like 3I/Atlas, resulting in rapid dissemination of speculative interpretations. Social media platforms, where speed and shareability favor sensational ideas, amplified this process. Analysts have observed that discussions on platforms like X frequently rely on familiar tropes: hidden military technology, secretive government interventions, or alien intelligence. In the case of 3I/Atlas, the interstellar origin of the object naturally lent itself to an extraterrestrial explanation, and the pre-existing cultural interest in aliens created fertile ground for the spread of speculative narratives. Using data from Brandwatch, a third-party social media analytics platform, a detailed look at how conversations unfolded can be seen. By collecting posts mentioning 3I/Atlas over a span of nearly 5 months, from July 1st to November 21st, 2025, researchers captured approximately 700,000 English-language posts, including tweets, retweets, quote tweets, and replies. Within this dataset, roughly 280,000 posts, representing about 40% of the conversation, explicitly referenced aliens or extraterrestrial technology. Many of these posts directly cited Avi Loeb's public statements and writings, often highlighting his lists of anomalies and his open-ended speculations about the object's potential as evidence of alien technology. The reach and impact of Loeb's contributions to the discourse were substantial. About 130,000 posts mentioned him directly, and more than 82,000 of those explicitly linked his name to the alien hypothesis, representing approximately 63% of posts that reference him. These figures are conservative, as they account only for explicit mentions and do not include implicit or indirect references to extraterrestrial involvement. The details driving these conversations reveal an intriguing dynamic between scientific observation and public interpretation. Many posts focused on particular anomalies in the object's behavior or appearance, such as unusual brightness variations, unexpected tail structures, or deviations in predicted trajectories. In Loeb's interviews and writings, he highlighted these anomalies as potential indicators that 3I/Atlas might not be a natural object. Social media users, already attuned to narratives about unexplained phenomena, quickly repurposed these points as evidence supporting their own interpretations of alien activity. The pattern illustrates a feedback loop. Scientific observations generate speculation, which is then amplified and reframed through social media channels, which in turn influence further public perception and discussion. At a broader level, the case of 3I/Atlas demonstrates how humans approach uncertainty and ambiguity in the natural world. When confronted with data that defies easy explanation, there is a tendency to default to narratives that involve intelligence or purpose, whether divine or extraterrestrial. This cognitive inclination is amplified by social and technological factors, the presence of authoritative voices, the accessibility of global communication platforms, and the resonance of culturally familiar stories. In the case of 3I/Atlas, all these factors converged. An interstellar object, rare and mysterious, entered the solar system. A prominent scientist publicly suggested the possibility of alien origin. A community already primed to interpret unusual events through the lens of extraterrestrial involvement responded enthusiastically, and social media served as the vector for rapid dissemination of these ideas. Ultimately, 3I/Atlas exemplifies more than just a celestial object. It is a window into human cognition and social behavior. It shows how people navigate uncertainty, how expert opinion can shape public interpretation, and how cultural narratives, once applied to gods, now apply to extraterrestrials. While astronomers continue to study the object, refine their models, and gather data on its composition, trajectory, and potential for natural explanations, the online conversation illustrates that the human need for understanding often moves faster than the scientific process itself. The story of 3I/Atlas is thus not only a tale of a rare interstellar visitor, but also a demonstration of the patterns of speculation, sense-making, and the enduring appeal of the unknown in shaping how society responds to phenomena that challenge our understanding. In the end, whether 3I/Atlas turns out to be a natural comet, a fragment of an interstellar system, or something even more extraordinary, it has already revealed much about how humans interpret the cosmos, fill the gaps in knowledge with agency, and create stories that connect scientific discovery with the imagination, curiosity, and wonder that define the human experience.